Hi folks. Today we're going to take a look at Project Oakdale, which is the new Power Apps for Teams application. So what we're going to do is we're going to dive right in and build a very simple app. So my good friend Chris is a personal trainer, but he still uses Excel for all his training plans and fills out the exercises, and it takes him a long time. So I'm going to do him a favor. I'm going to build him an app using Project Oakdale in Microsoft Teams. So I'm in Microsoft Teams right now, and the first thing I'm going to do is I want to enable this capability. So just click on the little dots and choose apps. Now you might not see Power Apps, so you can just do a quick search, and once you see it, just select, and it's going to install the Power Apps or activate the Project Oakdale capabilities onto your Teams environment. So we're going to click on Create an App, and we're going to choose the team on which we want to host our app. So I've selected a team here, going to hit create. And what this is going to do, it's going to install a CDS environment on our Power Platform. And in a few minutes, we're going to have our designer up. And the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to create some tables. So think of tables like worksheets. If you use CDS, these are just entities. I'm going to create a table called training sessions, and I'm going to start filling in some details here. So first thing I'm going to do is going to change the name of the column of our table. If you've worked with CDS, remember creating entities was a little bit different, but this is pretty neat because it's interactive. We can see the table be created. I'm going to choose the date that we're going to do this particular session, and we're also going to put in a little value if we've completed it or not. So pretty straightforward stuff. I'm going to choose the yes, no. Click create. So we've created our table now. Now, normally we would continue on, create the rest of our entities, but the cool thing about this is in Project Oakdale is we can actually start entering the data directly in the same designer as we did with where we created the table, which is really quite powerful. So for those of you who are used to Excel or Access, you're probably very used to this concept, and this is fairly new to Power Apps, and it's I think it's going to be a very powerful feature. So I'm beginning to fill in some data here about my training sessions, picking the dates and whatever. Now, as we build our app, we're going to have a much nicer user interface to this. But for now, to build out some test data, it's pretty handy that we can kind of fill this in directly on the table level, filling in some of the days, the dates of when we're going to do particular items. And again, we have the different fields and values and everything like that. So pretty straightforward. So we have our first table created. So here I'm going to create my second table. And what we're going to do is I want to actually have a listing of all my exercises that I'm going to be doing. And if you remember from the spreadsheet I showed you earlier, those were just rows in the spreadsheet and kind of breaking it out by session. Each worksheet represented a different session or a different day, but there's a whole list of exercises here. So we're going to make a table specifically for the exercises. So I'm going to give, of course, the exercise a name. Now I typically do a lot of powerlifting training, so this has to go in a particular sequence as well. So we'll give that a sequence number so we can sort on that. And we're going to add, a few of our other details, such as like the weight, so the amount of weight we're going to lift, how many reps, and how many sets. So now that we've created our table, we can see that we actually, by using the template, we have an app pretty much ready to go. So I take a look at that gallery. It's already bound to the training sessions, and there's a form that's also bound to the training sessions. And if I take a look at the advanced, I can see some of the formulas that are already in there automatically. I didn't put any of that in. It was just there based on the template. Now, of course, you probably want to start with your own template eventually, but this is a good way to learn and, might be accelerating some of your app creation. So what we can do here, let's just take a look and run this app. So I can run this in the preview. I flip through my gallery. I can see the different records. I can go in and edit it. So for instance, I can go in and begin to edit some of those values and maybe complete my exercise, or I can go and create a brand new record as well. And that's going to clear the form, and I can choose the date. Again, putting in some extra data of my session name, and of course, like the complete, whether it's completed or not. And what this will do is this will create the record. And like I mentioned earlier, we can add the data in the tables, or we can use the user interface, which is a lot nicer for our end users. Now, if you recall a few seconds earlier, I created that exercise table, but what I want to do is I want to link it to my session table. So I'm going to add a new column. We're going to call that session, and we're going to choose that as a lookup. So that's going to link the tables. So if you've worked with databases before, you probably know all about primary keys and related keys and things like that. It's not a hard concept. It's just a way to link related data so you're not repeating information all in one table. So we now have this lookup in our table here. And what we're going to do is we're going to begin to enter in some data that we want to show on our app. And we're going to add the control ourselves. So first I'm going to put in like what the exercise name is. We're going to choose a squat. We're going to do that first. We're going to start off with a pretty easy weight. Let's just start with 135 pounds. As a warm up, we'll do, I think, just one set. And maybe we'll do a set of 5. And we're going to link this to the particular day session. So we're going to do this on leg day. So let's link to that. And then we're going to fill in the rest of the data. Just quickly go through, add a bunch more exercises that we're going to test our situation with. So now that I'm back in my app, I want to display that exercise data. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a gallery component. We're going to add the blank vertical gallery. Of course, there's some other samples there. And immediately we're going to link this to our exercise table. Now, of course, it's kind of messy on the canvas there, so I'm going to resize it. I'm going to move that down. Now, of course, because it was a blank, we have to fill in the values ourselves. So, again, we can't really edit those fields based on this gallery yet because we don't have any components which to store the data. So I'm going to add within this gallery, we're going to resize it just to make it fit a little bit better onto our canvas. And we're going to add some labels there to hold the fields. So we're going to add the label. And because it's already bound to our data table, it's going to start showing the values. So notice it is showing the name of the exercise. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go through the process and add the rest of those particular exercise fields that I want. So I'm just going to go and resize all this information, those particular fields, bind them, make sure everything looks good, add some bolding, and of course, you can spend a lot of time on the styling. Now, if you notice, it's showing all the exercises, and I don't want it to show all the exercises. I only want it to show the exercises for that particular session. So I'm going to add a filter to my formula. So in my items formula for my gallery, I'm going to add a filter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose exercises as my source, but basically what I want to do is say what the session, for that particular session, I want that to equal whatever I selected in that gallery at the start. So what I really want it to do is just only show the exercises for that particular day or that particular session of which I'm exercising. So we go in, we'll fill in that formula. And again, there's a lot of different formulas you can use in Power Apps. So I've done that. Notice now it's completely filtered. Let's preview this. And notice each time I change the particular day or session, it's going to change the list of exercises. And then of course I can go through, and once I do it, I can say it's complete and we can move on. And again, this is a much nicer interface than kind of sorting through Excel, and I could load this on my phone. So now that we're done our app, let's actually publish this to Teams so it works directly within Microsoft Teams. So I'm going to save it first. It's going to save the app, and then I'm going to just hit the publish to Teams, and it'll be available for everyone in my particular team. Again, I can give it a much better description. And then when I'm here, it's going to ask me which team and which channel to install the app to. So it's on the general tab. Let's make sure we add a new tab, and it's going to be called app, but I can call it whatever I want. And we've done that. We're just going to save and close. And once that's done, it's going to be published to the team. So let's just take a look. Let's get out of our app designer here, our app builder, and just go into our teams. And we have our powerlifting training team. Just going to go in the channel, and there I have the app, and that's going to run within the context of Teams, and that makes things very powerful. So here I can go through, same thing as I did in the preview, be able to pick different days, and the different exercises are going to show up. So I really hope Chris likes this new app.